raise your hand. We'll go ahead and start with questions. Let's start with Katie right here in the middle.
Y'all lead the SEC in fourth down attempts. Just when it's kind of getting in those type plays, what's the communication like between you and Kaylin and the discussions of when you're going to go for it or not?
They're normally, the discussion honestly happens before the play. So we're pretty dialed going into the football game as far as what we think our go rates are in different situations. So typically when I start a series, I'll know what the go is for that. Like on first down, I'll know what the go is. So leading up to that play, there's really not a ton of deliberation unless we've run out of calls. And if I don't feel great about the calls we have left on the sheet, I'll tell Kaylin, hey, my best stuff's gone. We probably need to think about punting here. So it's not too bad. We've kind of been through it a few times.
Jump to the right side. Let's go to Charlie.
Yeah, Coach, do you feel like you guys left quite a bit of money on the table at Missouri, and what do you kind of do to kind of fix and finish some of those drives?
I'm going to temper my response there. Yes, I think that's an understatement. I think most importantly, the guys know that. We got to the film session on Monday, and when we went through it, some of the plays, there's tough looks that a good defense like Missouri will present some problems for you that the players will have to overcome at times, and they certainly did that at moments in the game. And then there's plays that you feel really good about. It's a look that you practiced, you're ready to execute, and for a multitude of reasons, those didn't happen the way we wanted them to at times, and that was frustrating. And so some of the fringe issues where we weren't able to continue drives into the red zone, was obviously really frustrating. So we got to look at coaches as well. It can't just be a player's thing because it's not just a player thing. So what are the plays that we're good at running? What do our players do well? What do we execute well? And we got to make sure that we find the best way to get our guys in those positions and be honest about, the film we're watching. So we certainly did that, and I always tip my cap to the guys because they're very open to that. They listen, they'll take coaching, they'll understand that their coaches are going to fight for the best opportunity for them as well.
Let's go to Chase on the left side.
Ty seems to be pretty unbothered by blitzing. He's had a lot of success against the blitz. Can you just speak to that quality of his and how uncommon it is in quarterbacks to be able to handle that and burn a defense that's bringing extra men?
Yeah, I think any quarterback, Ty is no exception to that. Certainly, more experience, the better. And certainly Ty has had some pressure-packed moments that he's had to deliver under pressure, and he just keeps getting better at it. And, fortunately for us, we play defense in the spring and in camp that pressures a lot. So I think there's something to that your quarterbacks can get used to that when they have to throw against pressure. And for him, I think, you go back to the Florida State game, which I don't want to, rehash stuff, but just the improvement he's made as a quarterback since then. I thought he made some plays that, in my opinion, the play he makes on 4th and 7 to Latsier. Big-time quarterbacks in high-pressure situations make those throws, and he did. And so I just, tip the cap to Ty. He's just been very steady on his preparation, very critical of himself. He knows the plays that he left out there that he can still get better at. But I do think that that's kind of the mark of a good quarterback. I think when you see guys that are good throwers when it's 70 and sunny, and that's all nice, but making those throws is where it really counts.
Let's go to Nick on the far right side of the field.
Yeah, kind of follow up to that. What are some of the coaching points to him about taking hits and hitting his checkdowns to make sure he doesn't take too big of hits?
Just that. Ty's gotten way better at it, honestly. There was his scramble for 20 yards. I thought that was the biggest one. Like, he got out in open space, clearly had the first down, and he took an unnecessary kind of hit there that he could have got down right there. But other than that, I thought he's done a good job of being able to lean out of throws in the back end of the pocket when pressure's, collapsing on him. I did think there was a couple he could have got out of his hand. I think that he would probably agree with that. I know that he does. And that's where he's continuing to develop and get better, that even when they're tough. There was one early on, we had a play action pass. He was pressured. He got the ball out of his hand immediately, got it to jam for like 3 yards, but 3 yards, 2nd and 7 is way better than 2nd and 17. So those are the things that I think he's continuing to build on.
We got two on the front left. We'll start with Emily Grace and then go to Colin.
What's the next step in Michael Carroll's progression as he continues to get game experience?
Yeah, Michael, when the game's moving fast, he's just got to be able to do the same. Honestly, there was one pressure pickup that Michael MA'd on in the game, and super encouraging. We're having a unit meeting. I call Michael out in front of everybody, and, whose fault was this? Who's the MA here? And Michael takes full accountability. It was mine. What was the call? Is it take it right call? He had the whole thing down. He knew exactly what should have happened, who the running back. So he was immediately able to articulate what should have happened in the play. And the growth that you can see from a young player like that just proves to me that he is very close to being able to be an every down guy.
Go ahead, Colin.
Hey, Ryan. Kind of back to Ty. I'm curious, over the course of, say 6 games here, is there anything specific about his throwing motion or throwing mechanics that you want to see improved over the back half of the year, or what kind of comes to mind with that?
No, I think Ty's big thing, he's been working really hard on throwing on the run. I think that's one of the things that all quarterbacks, I don't know if you have enough practice time to make sure you emphasize that enough. I think accurately throwing on the run, whether it's under duress or designed plays, is one of the things that you have to work the most. And I know Ty's worked really hard at that. I think other than that, I think he's a clean thrower. He's worked at taking the pad off of his ball. And I thought he's way better on the back end of his drop. He was a little bit jumpy early in the season where he's too dramatic on the back end. So just seeing the calmness in the back end of his drop and throwing on the run.
Justin in the back left.
You guys leaned on Daniel Hill to pick up some tough runs late in the game, as well as you trusted him enough to throw him the football late in the game. What does that mean about his skill set that you guys can trust him late in the game and pick up tough yards as a bigger back?
Yeah, Daniel has been a guy that unfortunately has been a little bit dinged up through the first part of the year, but is a guy that, I don't know if there's a guy we're more optimistic about out of spring ball than Daniel. So, we're hoping that starts to, show up a little bit more here and obviously, take some of the load off of Jam. But he's a really bright player. I think Daniel is a guy that I know Daniel is a guy that understands pressure pickups. He's very good at pass protection. He's got incredibly good hands. A lot of people probably don't know that about Daniel, but he's a good athlete. I mean, he was like a state champion 300-meter hurdle guy. Like, he's kind of wild, some of the stuff he can do. So we certainly trust him to do all those things.
Let's go to Alex right in front there.
I want to circle back to the right tackle spot, just how you think Wilkins done there and the balance between him and Michael and what you kind of like to see from that position moving forward.
Well, consistency is the biggest thing for both of them. Different vantage points for both guys, but I think consistency is one of the biggest parts. Obviously, the good offensive line play, there's no plays off. You don't get to be on the backside of a route or something like that. So we just got to have more consistency at that spot. So whether it's Michael having a full grasp of the offense or Wilkin executing at his highest capability, we just got to have better, consistency at that spot.
We have a last question. I think we have a follow-up. Katie.
You spent most of your career on the West Coast or Midwest. It's your first big rivalry game at Alabama. Just what have you been told or understood about this Alabama-Tennessee rivalry?
I'm still figuring all that out. I thought Georgia was a rivalry too, so I thought that was a big game. But I love that in general about the SEC. I think it's awesome. I love lining up every week, playing tough ranked teams. Our guys, our players are up for it. It's one of the best parts about being in Alabama, honestly, is like you think about playing Tennessee at home and what that stadium is going to be like and where our players are going to be at. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. Thank you.